Alright, starting here shortly. Oh my god. That cough. Alright, so let's get started. Turn that down completely, and it looks like everything is working. Awesome. Cool, looks good. So, let's finish up this hand. Well, I'm not really going to finish it up. I'm going to do, I don't know, whatever I feel like doing to this for the next hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm going to be refining the geometry. In the last couple of streams, I modeled the hand. Well, I didn't model the hand. I rigged the hand, I tracked the palm, and now I have constrained the rig to the track, and I have hand rotomated the fingers, and that is what you are looking at now. So we are going to do some cheap cluster work to clean up, to go and fine tune some areas and contours. So I am going to do one finger, maybe some of the thumb. I don't know how accurate I'm going to go with it, because once you see how it's done, you can decide for yourself how accurate you want it to be, but it will be a lot of work. I'm going to be doing this manually. Now, somebody on my Discord server recently successfully got a deforming mesh working within Syntheyes. Okay, for a second I wasn't sure if I had myself on mute or not. Somebody on my Discord server had recently gotten a deforming mesh to export out of Maya and work within Syntheyes, and also a version of it with the rig itself and the paint weights. I've had something like that work a couple years ago in Syntheyes, but at the time I didn't know the significance. I didn't explore it, and it didn't work 100%. So I just left it and forgot about it. So that's something I'll likely do on another stream. But there's a thing about that. Oh, did something just happen to my stream? What happened? I hope it's still going. Did the stream just die? This is strange. I have to check to see if things are still going. Well, hold on. I like copy. It looks like it is going. Hold on, I gotta move for a second just to see myself move. It looks like it is going. Hold on, I gotta move. Okay, looks like it's going. Weird. Alright. Cool. So, looks like it's just Restream that failed me. Okay, so I'm just gonna jump straight in. Messing around with these points. First off, this is the high-res mesh that I'm looking at. You can see that off to the side, I did separate out the high-res mesh and the low-res mesh, and I did this in the first stream, I believe, when I actually rigged this hand. Because here you can hide the high-res, look at the low-res, and you can monitor whether or not this mesh sticks. And if you manipulate this mesh, any animation done to these polygons is going to ripple back up to the high-res. So if I moved one of these, you could see we are manipulating much more detail than we actually are. Oh no, what have I done? Okay, there we go. So the high res, I am going to change it to reference. I don't want to touch it anymore. So now that it is in reference, nothing I do can affect that mesh unless I selected it directly in the outliner, which I should open up. Here we are. All right. So let's go ahead and... Oh, one more thing. Among the many other one more things. So you are going to want to make sure that you have this downloaded right here. So HK Tools, this is a series of tools. It is a script that you can download, and it'll give you a shelf with a series of tools. And these tools let you stabilize on 3D, which is extremely important. You want this. Cycling through camera. You've got some triangulation stuff. This is some really cool, handy stuff. I actually don't know what a lot of these do because I downloaded this very quickly not long ago. But I'd imagine they do stuff very similar to what other scripts I've used do. But I only need the stabilizer out of this for now. But yeah, I recommend you download this. It's literally just, once you downloaded it, it's going to say, hey, tools, or one of these. Just drag and drop it into Maya, and it's done. That's all it is. Okay, so, had to say that because I have the shelf here. And this isn't a button, it is a hotkey. And I can select anything here and hit Shift-Alt-C. And now I'm stabilized on whatever it is that I selected. And I can Shift-Alt-C and get out of there. Select something else like a locator. And you can stabilize on most anything, I think. I don't think you can do it on vertices. Let's try. I actually never tried it. If it did, that'd be amazing. Perfect. I don't know what that is. Shift-Alt-C. I'd imagine that was the origin of the hand mesh, which was at the bottom of the scene. So, pretend that didn't happen. And now that we have stabilized, I'm going to go up to the fingers, and I am going to start working on the index and a bit of the thumb. So I'm going to lock onto this joint over here. With scripts at TrackVFX, we're able to actually select a vertice and then lock onto it, but I'm not going to use that for this because nobody really has access to that. So selecting this. Oh, also, if you've downloaded this shelf, if you've downloaded these tools and you hit Shift-Alt-C and it doesn't lock onto something, that is because you have to click on this first button, hotkey. This button has some presets. If I selected it, you could see that there is some, you see at the bottom it says switch to MMSolver hotkey set, switch to TrackVFX hotkey set, default, my default, whatever duplicate is, and then HK Tools. You want to be on HK Tools, like it says at the bottom. And now I can select whatever, Shift-Alt-C, and I'm stabilized. Lovely. The Epic Noob stopped by to say your videos are awesome, brother. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. Yeah, it's a shame that I'm kind of starting from scratch a little bit since I jumped ship to a new channel, TrackVFX Live. So there's not really a whole lot of people here, but you know, once I get a couple streams up, I'm gonna. Oh, you're on Twitch too. Yeah, not many people watch on Twitch. Right now, there's only 2 people watching on Twitch. But yeah, so I'm gonna try and give this a boost here once a couple streams are done and uploaded to the channel. Eventually, but for now, not a whole lot of people. But I appreciate you stopping by. So I'm locked onto the finger. I'm gonna zoom in. What's nice about this stabilizer is what's nice about the stabilizer from this script, which is something that I didn't have access to for a while at TrackVFX. We have it now, but we didn't. But you can actually hold the pipe key, the button under backspace, that slash button, hold that, and then middle mouse drag around, you can actually pan in 2D around, and it's still stabilized onto this point. That is so nice and handy. You don't even know. If you do this long enough, you'll know. When you know, you know. Alright, so we can see, stabilizing on this finger, we can see just how off things are. And again, this isn't bad. If you left a hand, like I did during last stream, if you left the hand at this state, this is good enough for effects work. This will push around smoke. You can have some, it'll push some snow around. Maybe there's a waterfall and it's got to trickle some water. This isn't too bad. But we're going to pretend that we're going to be putting a texture on this hand. Like maybe there's some veins creeping across and those veins need the stick perfectly. I am going to individually, and sometimes not individually, but I'm going to be tweaking around a lot of the points on this mesh by hand. And you might think, hey, Cal, why don't you take this mesh into Syntheyes, track points on those surfaces, and then project them onto that mesh, bring them back into Maya, and then put in new joints, and then constrain those joints to those animated trackers. That's a good idea for other types of shots. That's good for like if you've got a shot that's very locked onto someone's face. But a shot like this, it's so erratic. There's so much lighting going on. There's so much going on that it'll be very hard to track. You're going to be manually tweaking your tracker every single frame. And if you're going to be doing that, you might as well just put a little cluster onto one of these points and then manually tweak it each frame in Maya. It's going to be the same amount of time. So, locking on. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna kick this off at the tip of the finger, because the way that I go about this is, so the most stable part of this hand is the palm. So, the tips of the fingers are pretty sloppily done. So if I start from the tip, do a very soft weighted paint from the tip to the palm, I can get most of this finger halfway done just with one cluster. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to select some vertices up here. Actually, I'm going to go face, face, and now I can't see. I'm going to go shift period on my keyboard, so that's grow selection, and I'm going to make a cluster. So I have a button. There's a button. Actually, that's nice. He included a. I can't pronounce the guy's name who made this, so I'm not going to try. But he put a cluster up here, so I can click that. Oh, it has the cluster options. Well, I'm not going to touch the options. I'm just going to hit create. So now, what if I drag this cluster, the whole finger goes for a party. I'm going to undo that. So we don't want the whole finger to move. We want to paint it so it's soft. So I'm going to select the mesh, just right click, come down to paint, cluster, and there's your cluster. And come on over here. It's kind of weird with the hand in the way, so I'm just going to go and turn the visibility off for high res. So, come over here to your tools, double click, now you have your tool settings, and here's your painting options. Make sure my camera isn't in the way. I cannot speak today. Keep slurring my words. So I'm going to come to replace, and we're going to replace all of this solid value with nothing. So 0, and you can paint and do that. I'm just going to hit flood, so we flood the whole thing. And now let's turn that back up to 0, to a value of 1. I'm going to paint the top half of the finger. Also, this becomes very fast after you've done it a couple times. So I painted the top half, and now I can go smooth, and when you change to smooth, you can paint your smooth if you want, but I'm just going to hit flood a few times until I think it's gotten pretty even from the tip to the base. Alright, let's see what we have done. So I'm going to select that select that cluster. Here's what our finger is doing now. Very soft, gradual movement. So now, oh, Danasa, sorry. Hello. Good to see you again. It's weird addressing you because it makes it sound like I've never met you in person before. So, here we have this finger going. Hope you didn't miss much, Danasa, but you probably didn't miss too much because this thing that I just did here, I'm going to be doing it a few more times. So here's this finger here. I'm going to turn on that high res again so we can watch the actual high detailed finger move into position. So even if the sides don't fit perfectly, I'm going to watch the tip of the finger. Yeah. And now, Danasa, you never did, Cal. That wasn't me a few years ago. Danasa's evil twin. The long-haired Danasa. Now. So I want to lock onto a point that is closest I could possibly get to the tip of the finger. So that would be the end joint to this finger here. I'm going to hit Shift-Alt-C. And I am locked on. And if you're wondering what I just did there with Danasa, at the start of the stream I explained that I downloaded a script, which you can find on Discord. In Discord there's a new channel that I made for tools, where you can post any match move scripts if you know of any. Yeah, anyway, there's this script. It's very easy. You download it, you just drag and drop it onto the viewport, and you get this new shelf, and you get these new tools. So yeah, so I stabilized on... Oh, wrong thing. So I stabilized on the tip, and now we can watch this mesh as we go. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to nudge. And when I say nudge, it's like in Syntheyes. So if you nudge in Syntheyes, it looks like this. So if I place a tracker, lock onto it, and again, locking onto things, this is what we're doing in Maya. We've locked into the tracker so we can see it. Nudging is if you go to the number pad on your keyboard and use the arrows, like, 4, 8, 6, 2, use those arrows, you can see I am actually nudging my tracker around the screen space. That is what we're going to do, because we're going to go frame by frame and just do some nudges to our finger as we go. So yeah. And to do that in Maya, for Maya, whenever you have something selected, and this could be anything, if you hold Alt and use the arrow keys, not the numpad, the actual arrow keys on your keyboard, hold Alt and then move it, and you can see I am nudging the finger left, right, up, and down. So I'm going to key this cluster, Shift W. We're only going to do translate because we're not going to rotate the clusters. Rotating clusters is very dirty. Also, we're not going to scale it. Yeah, just don't do any of that. Also, it's not worth your time locking them because you're going to make a lot of clusters. So now, I can go frame by frame. And to frame by frame in Maya, you hold Alt and hit the two arrow buttons, the comma and period keys. So hold Alt and then comma and period. And just never let go of Alt. So you can just use the arrow keys because you're holding Alt already. So yeah, you just never let go of Alt, and you can hit those two buttons, go frame by frame, and nudge. Typically, with a script that we have a track, I can lock into the vertices, and this would be more of a precise stabilization, but we're gonna work with what we got here. Also, if the finger slides so far off that you're like, oh, this nudging's too slow, you could just grab your cluster and move it. The thing with Maya, though, is that a cluster isn't the most clean way to do things. There is a way to get it to work well, but it's quite a setup. But you could just go ahead, middle mouse drag, fit that finger into place. So yeah, I'm going to go back to nudging. Also, if your manipulator tool gets in the way, like it is right now, it's kind of hard for me to see because the arrows are just jumping in front. I can hit Q on my keyboard, and that will get rid of the tool. But you can still hold Alt, and you can jump around your frames, and you can still nudge. Just you don't have that tool in the way. Doing these fingertips has always been the most satisfying portion of this for me. It's when you have to start getting into contours of the mesh that you're just going to start ripping your hair out. Also, depending on how your clusters are created, or depending on the type of mesh that you're applying your cluster to, sometimes if your object rotates and you move your cluster, that finger might go in the opposite direction. This mesh is rigged, and for some reason, when the hand moves around with a rig, the cluster seems to work fine. Some rigs, I've seen it not work fine, and I don't know why. It might have something to do with the root joint of the rig. If it's just a straight up object that you've animated and moved around, clusters, if that object rotates a bit, then the orientation of that cluster is going to act funny. I don't know why. I just work here. Oh, I went too far. I didn't want to go past those frames. Too much work. Seriously, doing this is so much work. If you ever do this for your own project, make it a short shot, or cut to another angle if you have to. So, that finger is kind of locked at the top. So if I Shift-Alt-C, get out of stabilize, nope, get out of there. Ooh. Okay, weird. I got my stabilizer off. So this finger should look pretty crisp. Yeah, when it's in motion, it looks pretty locked. You can get your hand as far as you think you need it to go for your own project. That'll be certainly fine. If it's client work, you know, spend the time and make every point 100%. If they need it to be. But for your own project, no one's going to notice. Like, if this goes, like, nobody's going to notice things are going to slide on this. Okay, so I'm going to select halfway down the finger, Shift-Alt-C. It's going to lock onto this. And let's just see what points down here are doing. So you could see the slide going on here. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to hide the high res for now. Let's go vertex, select a ring here, and Shift period to grow the selection. I'm going to grab all the points in the finger. It doesn't matter if you've grabbed the same points up there. Don't worry about it. And I'm going to I don't want to hit that button because it keeps opening up the option box. So I made myself a marking menu thing, but you know, if you don't know how to find clusters, just hit spacebar, deform, cluster right there. I have a marking menu. I just hit spacebar, middle mouse, cluster. So we have this one here. And I'm going to right click, paint, cluster, cluster 2. And I'll open up my tools, replace with nothing. And let's paint in just the middle of this finger. Maybe some of the bottom too, actually. Let's get rid of that extra point there. Let's go into this view. Make sure the back of the finger is there. Cool. And now smooth. Let's give it a few hits. Awesome. And now we're controlling the center of the finger. And I'll turn on the high-res mesh. And I'll key translate. And remember, auto key is on. And now I'm going to hit Q, hide that. So now I can hold Alt. And remember, period and comma. Always hold Alt. And I can make sure that the finger lines up to the creases here. And hopefully fits along the edges of along the actual sides of the finger. We're going to have to manually fix this stuff. And that is a pain. That is the thing that takes me forever. So again, right now I'm locked into a joint, which the joint itself is where the bad motion comes from because I did it crudely. This is where I would always stabilize onto a vertice. There is a way to do it. I might do it partway through the stream, I'm not too sure. But locking onto a vertice and watching the actual mesh itself, that is always superior. Okay, so kind of a shame here is that this knuckle here should be way up here. That is not something I want to fix at all. If you have to, you know, take your joints, rotate them better into place. If you have to, don't scale them too much, but if you have to, you can do a little bit of scale to get the length of your fingers right. But try to avoid scaling things as much as you can. So here we got these faces are staying in place, while these ones over here are stretching. That's because the pinky is rotating. Again, you can fix their joints because I made the pinky too short here for some reason, and I don't want to spend the time to redo that. But worst case is you can select your vertices later. Select these, make a cluster, and then you can tweak these if you have to. Cool. Now go this way, we'll go up. Again, I'm watching the creases. I'm going to hide this manipulator. Q. I'm watching the crease on the finger. Once again, the form isn't too bad. Just do a better job in blocking in your frames at the beginning with your joints, because I didn't position the joints all that correctly. Oh, nice. Okay, so I don't know how much further I'll go into this finger, but let's look at a couple bits like, let's say you really didn't like this, you felt the finger should be down a little bit. You can go ahead, select a couple points up here if you want. Make yourself a cluster. And you can do little tweaks to like the sides here. Yeah, so that was a very cheap, fast cluster, but let's pretend that was the best work you've ever seen. Here, we have this portion of skin at the finger that doesn't fit. We can take a point here. Again, make a cluster. Man, hold on, I'm going to go back to my layout tools. Was it KK Phase? Nope. Layout to form? Okay. I made myself a shelf of all the stuff that I like and use for deformation. So I'm going to go cluster. My cluster button just doesn't open up the option window. So there, I've nudged that portion in, and I'll go along. You can see it moving right there. Cool, back to the other side. By the way, if you let go of the Alt key and use your comma and period, the button that you've been using, the frame by frame, it will jump between the keyframes. So that's how I was jumping from the beginning and the end so fast. Okay, so there's that portion. So now we can see this contour over here. I can select a point here, cluster, and I'll hit Q, and I'll nudge that over. Shift W, so I put a key. Same deal. Alright, I'll go to the end. Cool. Alright, look at this big bulge piece here. I can select an edge. I could select the whole edge, make a cluster, and I'll do 2 points at the same time. Bring that in. There we go. Cool. So there is a finger kind of done. Let's Shift Alt C, get out of here, and then I'll hit the pipe key. So now, if you watch the index finger, it's looking pretty cool. It's looking a lot better. It sticks pretty well. It doesn't stick perfectly. I would typically spend a lot more time on a finger like that if this was for a client. But again, if this was for your own project, that looks pretty good. No one's stabilizing or logging onto these. Nobody's downloading. Okay, well, there's some people, but they're making YouTube videos and stuff. They're trying to impress people. But nobody's gonna download this footage. No ordinary citizen is gonna download this, learn how to track on the footage and stabilize, and watch your tracks. It's not the world we live in. So yeah, this finger I think looks pretty good. But let's go back to it. Shift Alt C. And also I kind of want no, Control Space Bar so I can get back out of full screen. Let's look at a couple more contours. Let's look at the top here and the bottom. Let's say right here. Let's grab a couple of the 4 of these. Cluster. There we go. Nudge that into place. Shift W. Went too far again. I just don't know when to quit. Cool. What's another significant part? Right here, there's a bit here. Let's go take this out. Cluster. Key it. Nice. Very nice. Now, where else are we? So, that would be... Let's pretend that this finger is done. Well, let's look at a couple more points over here. We have this. I can go cluster. Bring that up. Fit that contour. Awesome. Okay, so let's pretend that this finger is done. It's not. Well, it depends on what your project is for, because this is good for a lot of things. But if you're going to texture on it, you know, we might want to be a little bit more, like, take your time with it, make sure everything sticks more. You can see the finger is kind of like sliding up and down a little bit. It's not too bad. And sometimes you might have to take and shape the fingertip here a bit. So I can go cluster, bring that in, make sure it fits for the shot. Yeah, I'll leave that. Let's take a really quick look right here. So I think I can lock onto this bone, or should I lock onto this one? I'm gonna lock onto this one. So Shift C, or Shift Alt C, and then Shift Alt C again. So we can see the hand kind of has a general slide across the surface. And normally I would do a lot of clusters and do these points sometimes one by one, maybe twos or threes. Here I'm going to be real cheap, and I'm going to grab a whole bunch and make a cluster. So now we're moving around this whole pad. I can right click, paint, cluster. I don't know why Maya does this. You can see I open up cluster and it just shows 6. There's a cluster thing here which has a bunch of them, and there's a cluster thing here. It never used to do that for me. I don't know why it does that. It always put them in one giant list. I don't know. So, I'm on cluster 11. Yeah, cluster 11. Hide that low res. Open up the tools. Replace with 0, and I'm going to paint out... some of these over here. Maybe that as well. And I'm going to go smooth. I'm just going to flood this with a smooth. Maybe just once. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to do it just once. So we're going to grab cluster 11, and you can see that we're moving around this big pad of skin. And now I'm going to key this, move this over just so that one of the points hits the edge, and we can turn on our high res again so we can watch the high res. See, that high res or that low res wasn't very representative of that edge. So yeah, so now I can key that. And now I'm going frame by frame again. Once again, hold Alt, period, comma. You can go frame by frame. And while holding Alt, use your arrow keys, and you can nudge your features left and right, and up and down. So if I'm going frame by frame, we're gonna watch it sliding down there. Again, this is usually better if you lock into a vertice, which I don't have. I don't want to use the script for that because nobody else has access to it. So just eyeballing the motion off of stabilizing onto a joint. I'm not going to push this palm all the way over there to the extreme with this cluster. I'm going to, later on, I can make a cluster for this area as a whole and pull it over with that cluster. So I'm going to not touch that one anymore. I'm watching a corner right here where it lines up with one of the creases on my skin. And when I stabilize this point, this part of the skin kind of slides off. So if you watch here, and that's fine. Some parts are going to get damaged and you'll just have to watch that and think, okay, I'm going to come back around later with another cluster for that little area. Thankfully, here it doesn't last long. Okay, so we have this. We've stabilized this part of the skin a little bit. And now I'll look for that area that was pretty bad. Grab those points. Make a cluster again. Key it. Now see, we've corrected that part. Again, I'm not going to pull this point all the way to the extreme. Later, I'll clean this up with separate clusters. Same with here. I think the most damning part of this to me is the finger right here. So let's go and grab, what, this point? And is there another one? Yeah, let's grab that one. Should I grab this one? Not gonna. So I'm gonna grab just these 2 points. Cluster. And let's keep this part stuck to the actual crease in the finger. This part moves around a lot, so I'm just gonna middle mouse and actually drag the cluster manually. Okay, so that looks a little bit better. That loop up here, this one here is particularly ugly. Just for the hell of it, let's go and fix that one too. Cluster. Okay. Yeah, we've straightened that index out a little bit. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Alright, so that only took... How long did that take? So to do this finger, and I also was explaining a bunch of stuff at the beginning, but I've been doing this for 55 minutes now. Actually, not 55 minutes. 40 minutes. Wait. Yeah, 40 minutes. So it's not too bad. So that's... See, that's actually good enough to show for this. Because that's what this is I am now tweaking the low res. I've rigged the hand, I've rotomated it, and now I can use clusters, or even I can make new joints and keep inserting new joints into the rig. And I can use those to manipulate and tweak the low res or the high res. And, well, in this case, it would be the low res. And, you know, you can keep fitting all the forms everywhere, watching what they're doing. Yeah. So at this point, you've kind of seen what I do. So I'm just gonna, maybe for 15-20 more minutes, I'm just gonna cluster up a few more points and just see where it goes. So I'm gonna do some of the thumb here. So I'm gonna start with the tip and paint downwards, just like I did with the index. So I'm gonna select the low res. Let's hide the high res for now. Vertex. Let's grab this. Also, I'm sick of seeing this image plane here. It's helping me. It's not helping me at all. So I'm gonna select this. Looking through camera. Gone. Oh, what? Impossible. Desmond, hello, or as you put it, hello. And why did that disappear? Hold on, I'm going to select this camera. What? What have I done? That's got to be a bug. I have never seen that happen before. Okay, so I'm going to go in all views so we can see our image plane here. And we can see our image plane in... I didn't want to see it in our perspective view, but whatever. The track looks kind of clean. I am liking it so far. Hold on. Yeah, I'm liking it so far. Except for the back of the finger, I didn't touch that. I'm not going to touch most of this hand. I only am doing the front of this finger, a little bit of the palm, some of the thumb, just enough to show people how I go and tweak the smash. Because if you gotta, depending on what you're doing, if you're having effects all over the hand, and you gotta go and cluster or clean up all of it, that's a lot of work. I don't want to do all that on stream. So I'm just showing how I clean up the stuff. When the hand turns, you can see how it looks. There shouldn't be anything you can't do with this method, honestly. Is this what they called rotomation? Yes. Rotomation is using a rig and hand animating the position of whatever it is that you're doing. Typically we refer to body tracks. So if somebody's maybe running through fire, but you don't want the actor to really run through fire. So they run through, you have a digi-double of them, and we would have like a character rig, like an animated character, and we would manually pose them out on every frame until it just looks like a match move of their whole body. Typically, it's pretty rough stuff. Full body tracks, when they need to stick 100%, those are nightmares. But yeah, this is a rotomation. So, what was I doing? I was going to go for the thumb, wasn't I? Let's go for the thumb. I'm going to select the tip here and Shift-Alt-C. I have stabilized. And you can see that finger's really jittering around, and that's just my rig and my track. So again, what I did with the index finger, I'm going to select this. I'm going to select the point. Oh, that's what I was doing before the image plane was in the way. I was selecting the points on the thumb. So I'm going to just go face, face, shift, period. Expand that thumb. And you know, let's expand it down another level. Oh, come on. There we go. Space, deform, cluster. What you gonna add later on his hand? Probably nothing. This is just, you know, just to show people, just a stream. I am very demotivated to add VFX of any sort to any shot that isn't going to be a part of a larger project. So for me, I'm not going to do anything on this. Yeah, that's all I got. Okay, so now if I had 5, wait, nope, never mind. Oh wow, right click, paint, cluster 15? 15 is the most recent paint, yes. I'm going to double click over here, open up the tools, replace, 0, flood. And again, if I speak too fast, I'm just going to start gunning through this. If I talk too fast, somebody stop me. Somebody stop me. Now let's go to 1. I'm going to paint half the finger. Oops, I don't want that part. Go away, be gone. Let's spacebar, come to this view so I can get a better view. Paint all these back faces. Hey, look, it's perfect. Half finger, half painted. Smooth, flooded a number of times. I kind of want more. I'm going to go replace, 0, flood. I want, wait, did I paint that ring? I might just be redoing what I already did. I'm going to doubt myself and paint one more. Smooth, span the flood a few times. I don't like that now. Danasa, you beat me on the somebody stop me joke. Desmond, is that an ambulance? Yes. Somebody died outside. Sorry. No, I don't know if somebody died. I live, if you've ever been to Vancouver or have heard about Vancouver, there is one particular stretch of street, or one specific stretch of street, East Hastings. It has the largest gathering of homeless people in Vancouver. Actually, in BC, probably. They live one street away from me. Now, there's Hastings, there's an alleyway, and then at the other side of it is me. It's also where Gastown is. I live in Gastown, and it's a very touristy area. So one side is super nice and everybody wants to go to. At the other side is ambulances, syringes, yeah, and unshowered people. If that was insensitive, I'm a little sorry. Okay, so replace, 0. I don't like that I painted one more ring like I did, so I'm gonna undo that. Paint this one more time. Smooth, flood that smooth a few times. There we go. Did I just... Never mind, I'm not gonna question myself. I might have just did the same thing 3 times. So here's our thumb moving, nice and soft. Now I'm gonna match the tip, turn on a high res so we can watch the high res again. And key that, so now, and also hit Q so you can hide that. So now I'm gonna hit Alt, comma, period, go ahead, and I am watching the very tip of the thumb right now and making sure that tip sticks. Yes, Danasa, just the tip. My mom's calling. I'm gonna work on this thumb, but I'm gonna mute my mic and talk to my mom. One second, Mom. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. I am done with that. Hello, Calvin's mom. You've met my mom. The NASA has met my mother. Okay, this thumb really jumps up. The pose of this thumb that I got a while ago is really bad. Wow, then it really snaps down. Back. Come on, Thum. Too much movement. I'm gonna hit W. Hit W, and your manipulator tool is somewhere. It's just probably up high. Right now, I can middle mouse and I can move it, but you can't see the manipulator. That's fine. That is normal. Oh, I also went too far again. I keep forgetting I don't want to go past 1010. And also, sorry if my mouse... Are the mouse click... Or, sorry, are the keyboard... I can't speak. Are the keyboard clicks... Are the keyboard keys annoying? Just curious if those are annoying, because I'm not using the denoiser that I used to use a while ago. Depending on what I did, the denoiser just kind of didn't agree with the stream all the time. If I were using that denoiser, you wouldn't have heard the person die outside. AKA the ambulance. Keyboard clicks are satisfying. Personally, I think so too. I don't know, I kind of like hearing them depending on the tutorial. The worst thing is noise. Or fuzzy noise. The heavy fuzzy noise. Or somebody who has a fan. Big apartment fan. If I'm still streaming by April 1st next year, I'm going to go ahead and do a stream where I have an apartment fan just blasting full throttle into the mic. See how many people dare to watch that stream. I'm going to make that the most interesting Match Move stream I've ever done. And it's going to have a fan running full blast the entire time. Yes, I have talked to Satan. He's a huge fan. It's okay, I'm also currently working now, so the clicking blends to my own. Sneaky. Sneak 100. Okay, so I did the tip of the thumb, and again, I'm not going to do all that much to the thumb. I did most of the stream. You get the grasp of what I'm doing with these clusters and how I'm fixing this mesh. So I'm going to do a couple more points down here, and I'm going to be done here pretty shortly. Let's take a whole face. Actually, two faces by the looks of it. Also, it's kind of funny because you move the face here and you can see it moves in a different way compared to my mouse. That's because of the object orientation and the rig and whatever. But cluster will move just fine. Cool stuff. Desmond, it gets covered by the big music. By the big the big music. Wow. I am big stupid. Background music. That was very... You know what? I'm going to delete the stream when it goes up so that nobody gets to hear that. Made me look like a fool, Desmond. Don't appreciate that kind of thing. And here I can make the bottom there fit pretty nicely. Oh, is my camera just in the way of this? Nope, shouldn't be. I'm always so worried because my, or programs where I'm always moving the windows and whatever around. I'm always so concerned of where my face cam is. Okay. So we got a point there by the webbing. It's not the best, but again, you know. Another person died outside. I'm so happy to be moving. I'm not gonna miss the occasional, like, literal death-curdling screams. Blood-curdling? Death-curdling? I don't know. I probably said that wrong. Sometimes there's some pretty gnarly screams out there. But that's because somebody is on some hardcore drugs. And they're shouting at a wall because it insulted their mother. I too shout at walls. Not because they insult my mother. They just prevent me from going places. I have to use a door. That was such a dumb joke. Okay, let's see. Okay, cool. So we got a little bit of that. Again, not perfect. I rushed through that. So look at the whole side of this finger. I'm going to go ahead and select... Ooh, not that. I'm going to go ahead and select a whole bunch of points. I can't even see what I'm grabbing. What did I get? What have I done? What is that? Why does it look like that? Okay, well, let's select this properly. We'll go and hide the high res. Oh, wow. Okay. How far am I going? Up to here. Let's grab this one, too. Okay. Cluster. There we go. So we're moving this portion. Let's show the high res. There we go. We can tuck this out a fair ways. And we'll have to fix that one later. I could not imagine working in a studio, working in a matchroom department where everybody is shoulder to shoulder, but they all have mechanical keyboards, so all you just get is multiplied by 5 people down a row, 6 up a column. Sounds like rain. I'd imagine it was. Actually, it does sound like rain. When I was in the studio, when we were still working in the studio, all the keyboards sounded like rain. It sounded like rain landing on a tarp. Oh, I can only imagine some of the stupid crap that I'm saying comes off more annoying than it does, as I'm going to say, entertaining. Mainly, I'm just trying to fill dead air. But I'm wondering if what I am saying is more stupid and unrelatable than it is dampening of boredom. Don't even know how to English today. So that thumb is stabilized a bit. I'm going to stop with the thumb, but I'm going to look at the webbing right here. Let's go for the webbing. So I'm going to grab this, and I think I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to maybe grab... Actually, let's grab the face. Is the face good to grab? Actually, let's grab a face just below this. This looks better. Cluster? A little better. A little better. Let's take this. Oh yeah, I'm gonna probably try tracking in Blender here. I don't know if I'm gonna do it at the end of this stream or if I'm gonna stop this stream, start one later tonight. But I don't know. I wanna mess with Blender. I wanna try track with it. From what I've seen, it's awful. I say that Don't say, oh, he's a Blender hater. I love Blender. I learned Blender back in what I recently discovered is 2012. I've been using it for a long time, off and on. Blender was the first program that I learned to track in. It was the first I bought Track Match Blend back in 2012. Learned how to track. And that is where I kind of got my core fundamentals from. Years later, now, in the present day, I just want to do it for fun. I want to actually start trying to do some roto anims like this in Blender. Blender makes it really easy for you to insert joints and paint them. It makes adding armatures very simple, very fun. I want to try to do some roto anims in Blender and use the tracking in Blender, project them onto the deforming meshes because, hey, it's all in Blender, it's all in one file, and then attach those joints to the trackers, which I believe will be a whole lot easier to do in Blender than it is in Maya. I won't be able to do it like this in Blender though, like how I'm doing this low-res mesh. You can't do this in Blender. As far as I know, people haven't been able to help me, which isn't the problem. Blender's awesome, but you know, there's things that every program can and can't do. There's 1,000 things Maya can't do, and there's still a pretty good number of things Blender can't do. But yeah, I broke the thumb. Thumb looks so mangled there. Yeah, but I've been lately watching so many Blender tutorials, trying to get back into it. Trying to remember how to shade and all that stuff in there. Modeling, I'm okay with modeling at it. I'm not the best. I just need to get better at symmetry. Need to get better at... You know? I don't know. I lost what I was going to say. Okay, so Shift-Alt-C. Let me just take a look at this. Getting real sick of this hand. So that thumb is looking cleaner. It's looking better. The index looks pretty decent. The webbing, like that little in the middle of the fingers, is starting to look a little bit nicer. Let me hide those joints. Show joints, wherever joints is. Joints. Yeah. Anyway, that's really just the gist of it all. Just picking your angles. If things turn around, put a cluster, warp a point, do what you got to do to make sure it sticks on the finger. Always stabilize on it, make sure it looks nice. Yeah, I think I'm done. I've done a full finger. I've done a bit of the palm, bit of this stuff. I've done roughly on the thumb. But there's nothing new that I'm showing now. That's it. There's nothing new I'm showing. It's just that for potentially a full day or two. It takes a long time to do these in full. And I rush those. So yeah, I think I'm done. Unless anybody has any questions. I see there's 3 people here. Yeah, if any of the 3 people here has a question. That's about it. Once this is done... Once I'm done streaming this, I'm going to put, I think in the next few days or something, I'm going to put a video on the main channel just to better boost the live channel here again. Since, you know, I've migrated over here on YouTube anyway. Because, yeah, not too many people know the streams are happening at the moment, which is fine. It makes sense. I expected that. But now that there's a few streams in the can that are kind of there to welcome some people when they come onto the channel, then... You know, hope that helps a little bit. But I also want to have a video just to kind of tell people what I plan to do with the channel. Tell people, hey, you can submit shots for me to work on. Here's how to do it. Here's Discord. Here's what we do here. You can post this stuff. You can do whatever you want. John, very cool stuff. Looking forward to your Blender track and rig idea. I hope so too, man. Because I can't, without a linear smooth in Blender, I can't do fine-tuning stuff like this, but you can do it with joints. It just means that I can't use a low-res base mesh. That's the only difference. But with a rig, and you paint the weights on a rig on a joint, or armature, whatever you want to call it in Blender, it's going to stick 100%, so that's fine. That's perfect. John, how do you, can you, I've seen someone do this. Can you lock onto a point like this in Blender? From the camera view, in a track, in the perspective view though, not in the tracker view, but when you're watching 3D, can you stabilize on a point like this? I'm pretty sure I've seen it. I gotta figure out how, but I don't know of any videos online where somebody has done it in a video. I've seen a friend that I used to work with, I think actually did it. I'll have to bug him. Let's see. Let's get out of here. Let's just look at this in 3D for a moment. See what kind of garbage this looks like. I hit Alt B and it is blinding. Actually, I can hide this image plane now. Be gone. Looks cool. John, not that I know of, but I'll look into it. Yeah, that'd be awesome to see. Yeah, because if you can lock onto them, if you can lock on. Oh, actually, one more question, John. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be annoying. You're kind of my Blender guy at the moment. I'm gonna select this point, so now I'll lock onto it. Wait, I didn't do it. Select that. Alt Shift Alt C. Okay, so that's one thing. I want to stabilize like this in Blender, and the other thing is I want to be able to translate a point. You don't want to click and drag a point to fix. You don't want to fix a point like that. You want to nudge it, like in Syntheyes and whatever. In Maya, I can key this. We can hold Alt and then use the arrow keys, and you can see I'm nudging the point. If I can nudge like that in Blender, that would up what I'm able to do in it so far. That would be incredible if I was able to do that. Because yeah, in any view here, Shift Cube, oops, scale up. You can do that with anything. You can grab vertice, hold Alt, and you can nudge it around. Really hope I can do that in Blender. That would be amazing. Point and grab. I can hold Shift. Wonder how quick this is. If I arrow, you know what? Let me quickly. How do I make a hook again? Control H, hook to object. Grab this, and turn on auto key. And let's grab the hook. Location. Can I scale a hook? Yes, I can. I suppose you could constrain a camera to a point, but that's a pain in the ass. Yes, it is. That is a way to do it, though, I guess. Like, I could totally, and it would have to be an aim constraint. The camera would have to keep its path, and the image plane would need to be visible in the world space. But yeah, that'd be a way to do it in Blender. You can, if you have like a joint, like in Maya, I was stabilizing on a joint because I'm not using a track VFX script to stabilize on a vertice. But yeah, you can aim a camera at a joint, keep the image plane visible, and then you can work on all the points in that area. So you've only set up one camera to aim constraint, and that's, you know what, I don't think that's too bad. That might not be too bad. So yeah, let me just make sure, is this keying? Yes, it is. Okay, can I do anything? I'm just gonna hit a bunch of buttons. Shift. And the arrow keys are that. So I wouldn't want the arrow keys to be my frame by frame. You can nudge with the arrow keys after press. No way. That is perfect. That is perfect. Wait, what's that? Oh, is that the original? Oh, interesting. Oh, is the hook a modifier? Oh, yeah, okay. Cool, I didn't know that was done like that, okay. I was wondering because it's showing me that constraint point. which I don't remember how to hide. Relationship lines. What is that? That is a light. And let's see. You know what? I think I'm done with Maya. I think I'm just gonna say, hey, I'm done this, and I think I'm just gonna mess around with Blender for a few minutes at the end of the stream. Hold on. Anyway, that's the hand. I'm gonna destabilize this. So that's the hand. The whole process, again, for me, I like rigging a hand. I like having a low base mesh that I can manipulate to further drive a higher res mesh, because making joints all over the place can be a bit of a hassle in Maya. It is enough work to figure out which joint you need to branch off of, paste it onto the mesh, go into your paint weight settings, and Maya's own painting is not fun. I use NG skinning. NG skin tools. This is amazing. The free version also lets you do a lot of stuff. But, yeah, so that's how I rotoman them. A lot of studios have different methods to do it. Typically, it's not too far off. You do it by hand, and then you can make joints or clusters and warp stuff. Some people will project your trackers onto a mesh and have that drive joints. I've seen scripts do that. I used to use stuff like that at Zoic. Did a little bit of stuff like that at Hydraulics. But yeah, that's how I do it. We've had some clients who were very happy with the stuff that we've been able to put out at Track VFX. We've gotten some pretty happy people who have been coming back to us for stuff like this. So yeah, that's it. That's it for the hand roto anim. So I'm gonna mess around with Blender for a little bit here. So yeah, stick around if you want. I'm gonna open a shot real quick. Okay, so tracking. I played around with a couple points, but that was it. I only tracked like a few points, but I watched 1,000 tracking tutorials. So I'm gonna go open. We're at that point where my throat dies. Okay, so I have a shot here that I don't think Syntheyes will do very well, honestly. So prefetch. Oh. Set scene frames. Cool. And now, control click. Yes. Control click. Oh, and you can't click and... Wait, what? Okay, so I was hoping that when I control click it... Oh, you let go of control and you can drag the point. Okay. I was panicking because I thought that you couldn't drag the tracker once you create it. You let go of control. Okay. And yes, you can hold G. And S scale, and I'm S, X, nope, Y. Okay. Man, I still do not like Blender's world axis orientation. Control T, or is it Shift T? It's Control T. Look at how fast that is, man. That's so fast. I said on Discord, with no exaggeration. Wait, L. Oh, L's to lock. And Control L. No, Control L's to lock. L's to lock on. Control click. And scale X. L lock on. Control T. Does a really good job. What is this on by default? This is not the planar one, is it? Motion method, it is on location. Okay. Control click. I'm gonna spam a bunch of trackers. Oh, so wait, when you hold G. Oh, you can nudge like that. Okay. I was just about to ask, how do you nudge a tracker? Okay, that is great. Wait, what? Oh, okay. I hit G twice and that turned on offset tracking. No, stop it. Ah, control, let go. And okay, let me grab all my. Is there a way that I can select all but not those? Oh, but those are locked, they won't track. So Control T. And what is it? There was a key to show the search, but I don't remember. So normalize, somebody mentioned. It's over here too. Normalize light intensities. You know what? I'm just gonna leave that on forever. Wait, there's two. There's two. Normalize light intensities while tracking slower. While tracking. That's the same thing. So tracker settings. Tracker settings? There's two of them. I don't know why there's two. Okay, so lock all of them. Okay, so if I lock all these, is it gonna unlock that one? Okay, perfect, it didn't. You know what? The point tracking is fun, but I like the hotkeys in Syntheyes much better. But you know, Syntheyes doesn't do 1,000 other things, obviously. So this is great considering. Well, actually, I mean, Blender has hotkeys based on all the modes that you're in. So that's not much of an excuse, I guess. Usually, though, if I find I don't like hotkeys, I don't immediately say that they chose bad hotkey binds. I usually just think, well, they have a workflow. They're better at it than me, obviously. There might be a reason why they chose to put their keys in the positions that they did. I personally am not a huge fan of a lot of the keybinds in Blender. But when you get used to them, they are amazing. Okay, so Control T. That tracked pretty well, man. That's a noisy... Look at the compression in this footage. Oh, that's also a cool thing, I think. I did this earlier. You lock into a tracker, but you could still pan and zoom around. Let me do this in Syntheyes, Russ. Please. Just let me pan around my shot when one point is locked on. That is so nice. That is super handy. Okay. So... have that one. And now... let's try this one. Oh, crap. Nope. Control, click, let go. Okay, so is this one going to nail it as well? Am I locked on still? Let's go Control T. It did a good job. Oops, I was not on the first frame. How do I track it backwards? There's got to be a hotkey for that. I don't want to use these. Wait. Yeah, oh, it doesn't tell me a... Control Alt T? Control Shift T? Hey! I love in most software, if it's Control something to do anything, you could just hold like either Alt or Shift and it's gonna make things go in a reverse direction. It's so handy that you could just figure things out like that. I do really like when software just, you know, they kind of reference each. Well, I don't know if they reference each other. I doubt it. Why did I say I doubt it? Of course they do. But yeah, it's nice when you could just kind of relate things to one another. Hold on, I'm gonna hit this X. Okay, Control T. That one was a little bit slower. Probably because I scaled that tracker up. But that's not that big. How fast is it in Syntheyes? I'm gonna lock that. I'm gonna go to that same point. Let's delete that. Play. I'd be interested. Okay, I kind of guessed that was gonna pop, because the thing with Syntheyes is this. Syntheyes has a Blender has. What's it called? Where is it? Tracker settings. Correlation. Default minimum value of correlation between matched pattern and reference that is still treated as successful tracking. Okay. That's like Syntheyes' merit of... that's like when you track a point here. You hit F7. Take a look in here. You have FOM. So that is blinding. So this blue line is representing the error value of the actual pattern, which is on 1001 in this case, and how well it is sticking across the shot. So as the shot goes on, the pattern gets more and more different, because, you know, so you can see the curve gets crazier and crazier. Cool. So that would be this. Blender has its higher. Or, no, Syntheyes doesn't really go like that, or something. I'm wondering how much they differ in that department then. That Syntheyes is tracking like it does. This is getting a little bit more in depth than I thought it would. I should probably stop this stream and then do this. Just have fun with Blender in some other stream sometime. Should I stop this? Is anybody sick of this? Should I stop playing with Blender? And just do this some other day. Does anybody even care if I play in Blender? I'm pretty sure I'm going to in the future. Because there's some stuff I want to do here tracking wise. So I'm going to hit... wait, no, I'm not going to hit. I'm going to leave that tracker alone. Let me get all Control L, lock. I want to try track this one. Control click. Scale. No, G. I'm so bad with remembering where the keys are on the keyboard. Like, I have to look so I can move my hand. Control T. And can I hit Control HT from the end and will it track backwards? Yes, it did it. That is okay. That's really fast. Then also, I'm okay with Blender. Thank you. John's up to you, man. I'm enjoying seeing you mess around in it while I do a digital painting on my other screen. I've never tried Blender Tracker at really. Yeah, from what I've seen, from what I remember, from when I actually learned how to track here, and then from the tutorials I've been watching, you shouldn't be able to solve this shot. I'll explain why in a second. I'm gonna try, and then I'm gonna stop the stream. Okay. So, I shouldn't be able to track this, or I shouldn't be able to solve this. Blender, you cannot project and constrain trackers into positions where you want them to be. This shot has some distortion, and this should be the case where even if I put like 100 trackers around, I don't know how to use the auto tracker. I saw people auto tracking in this. I'm not going to try that. But from what I've seen, because of distortion, you still won't get a good depth from these points. So if I get a bunch of points in the ground, and if I turn them into a floor, the floor is going to come out looking very stupid. Also, John, I wouldn't mind seeing your painting if you were willing to share your painting, like on Discord there or something. Because I keep trying to get into digital paint as well. Very interested to see what you do. Again, if it's stuff that you're willing or allowed to share. Click that. I'm actually kind of curious. If I don't lock a tracker, do they all track? Let's get this down here. Man, what is the key to show the search? Where is the search box? I remember, I know there's a search box. I just can't remember the key to show it. And I don't know where the button is. There's a refine option? That's kind of cool. I could Google it. I just don't want to do that at the moment. Okay, I'm gonna look it up. Hold on. Blender search box hotkey. Oh, that's not. That search was poorly worded. So convert Blender search bar. Okay. Shift V? Nope. Control. Okay, they try to make the letters make sense in some form. So, L was lock. T is track. But search field, would it be F? Control F? Shift F? Alt F? Nope. Blender tracking hotkeys. Okay, forget that. I'm just not going to worry about the search box. We don't need it. This is a pretty noisy, ugly area. Let's see what it does with this. L, lock, Control T, Shift Control T. There's some drift, and I don't know how to refine that, so I'm not going to try. That wasn't bad. That's a pretty good track. That's pretty awesome. Nice. Some drift. Once again, I don't know how to fix at this moment. What? Why did that come out so bad? Oh, okay. The strongest values, the bright values over here, seem to scare the bottom of the box there. That's normal. Okay, delete that. In Maya, I gotta set my delete key to X. I'm so used to deleting with X. To me, X is the only button that I don't have to travel for. So deleting in Blender for me is my favorite. I gotta change that in Maya. Control T, Shift Control T, L. Cool. Oh, last second. Okay, scale makes a key, I believe. Now I'll track back. Yes. Oh, interesting. Huh. Oh, but how do I frame by frame now? I can't frame by frame. I hit G, so I can now nudge. But the arrow keys are now used for nudge. So I can't frame by frame to see what my nudge does. That is not good. Okay, if there's a button that I can use to get out of nudge, because I can't double hit G, that turns into offset. Oh, I don't like that. Yeah, I think I gotta look into this more. Then I'll mess around with it separate time. Let's go A, lock. Let's just see what a solve does, and then I'm gonna stop because I'm tired. Okay, so solve. What's keyframe? Automatically suck keyframes. Oh, that's the initial frames. Okay. I'm gonna go automatic. Refine focal length during camera solving. What does that mean? So does it not calculate an unknown lens unless you set that? Let's see. Solve. Solve error 4.25. Should be up here, right? Oh, not until you hit setup scene. Okay, so error 4. I'm gonna turn on focal length. Now solve. Okay. Oh, Blender can solve optical center. That's good to know. Four errors. Is that because 2 points that I really hated? That's weird. Okay. Oh, I gotta try the stabilization sometime. See how Blender does it. So, oh, lens. Okay. Focal 24. That is perfect. That's okay. That can't be solved. That's not. Okay, that didn't solve itself unknown. There's no way. And there's no lens distortion. Okay, so I don't know how to solve lens distortion. Try the menu in... Also, sorry, Jen, I don't know when you sent this message. Try the menu in the top right corner of your tracker panel that says Clip Display. Hey, search! Hey, that worked. Oh, cool, we got the color channels. Black, white, what's this? Oh. You know what? Back in 2012, I made a Blender tracking tutorial back in 2012. What was impressive about it is it got 90,000 views. I had no idea. I remember I turned off the footage display just so I can show that if you can read a 3D scene like this, then so can Blender for the solve. That is bringing back memories. Holy crap. Show stable. Oh, stabilize footage. Grid. Trying to think of why this would be useful. That's interesting. Calibration. Aspect ratio, was that A? That's a nice amount of info. Okay. Oh, 3D markers. Yes. I didn't even realize that wasn't there. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna create a scene and see what it looks like. Set tracking scene? Set background. Set tracking scene. What's set background? Huh. Also, Alt S to have a tracker selected to view the search. Yes! Oh, Alt S. Okay. Earlier in my mind, I was like, okay, the buttons typically start with something that seems to make sense. All I thought was Control S, and I was like, oh, I don't want to save this. I just shunned S. Yes, Alt S. Man, when I searched that, it failed me. Okay, let me see this here. Ooh. So that's really bad. Let me see. My first thing that I would do in Syntheyes with something like this that didn't get emotion out of it is I would set my keyframes. So let's try 100. I would set my keyframes to 2 points that are so separate from one another, because those are the 2 frames that your software is going to start and say, well, okay, well, here's the parallax. This is your left and right eye. I wonder if that'll do anything. Solve error, 0.4. Setup tracking scene. Did that just do it? I don't know. Okay, let's just go to layout. I don't think that... Wasn't there an option... There's an option to show the track, isn't there? Motion tracking. Camera path, marker names. Oh, I see a couple markers. Wait, there's no markers over here. Oh, it's all wrong. I just need more trackers. I didn't track a lot. I'd imagine I need more trackers. Okay, well, I'm done. I think I'm gonna... I gotta play around with this. I think I'm gonna play around with this. I don't know. Tomorrow or another day and just... Even if no one watches, I'm just gonna sit and let it stream. Yeah, wow, those points are crazy. But why? Hold on. Let me add a couple extra points and call it. I can't even zoom into my footage now. What? It's locked. I can't zoom past this point. What happened? I can't zoom in. Oh no. I'm gonna be breaking stuff like this. Wait, what's this? What? There's a lock. How did I hit that? Weird. Yeah, what's a couple points I can blast out in just a couple minutes and then be done and go away? Here, here, here. Let's try here. Here, here. Sure. Okay, Alt, Control T, Control Shift T. Cool. Alright, so does that solve? 0.25. Set up tracking scene. Hey! It solved. Okay. And let's just go one control? Nope. Shift. And crap. I need a 4 point. Oh crap. I didn't even grab a 4 point. Let's go here. Here. Okay, this, and floor. What? Three tracks with bundles are needed. Huh? This, and this. 3 tracks with bundle. What are bundles? Can I at least set an origin? Okay, I saw that move. Oh! I didn't solve. Wait. Did I solve? I think I solved. Okay. Floor. Oh boy. This one? No. Okay, only green dots. Only green dots. Yes, but those are so far away and the floor is garbage. Why didn't these solve? That's gotta be a distortion thing. Okay, I'm done. I'm tired. So, I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching the hand roto anim. And there's a weird blender bit at the end. I'll have to trim this off of the thing. I don't think I want this blender bit at the end of the hand stream. I'll probably try and trim that later. Alright. Thank you for watching. And see ya.